Outside the Franklin campus on Hudson Avenue, police tell us a stolen car drove up onto the sidewalk, nearly hitting several people. Brett Vetter is on Hudson Avenue right now. Brett, it sounds like this all started right around school dismissal time, right?
That's correct, Nikki. When I got here about an hour ago, traffic was shut down, but it has since reopened. Rochester police tell me that a stolen car went up onto the curb, narrowly missing maintenance workers I spoke with who did not want to go on camera, but one of them told me that they did see police take someone into custody. I also saw a Hyundai being towed away, and it's unclear if that was the stolen vehicle. But we'll, of course, bring you the latest updates on the scene as they come into our newsroom. Live on Hudson Avenue, Brett Vetter, News 10 NBC.
All right, Rich, thank you very much. Teens in stolen vehicles, reckless driving across the city. It's a crime Rochester has seen all too often this week. We have new details this morning on a chase across the city last night. Police tell us they took 4 teens, ages 13 to 16, into custody after officers chased them in 2 stolen Kias. Both cars crashed on the city's southwest side. This was the scene at Lamberton Park. RPD says the chase started after officers received a call from a man who said he had been robbed at gunpoint by a group of teens who then drove off in 2 cars. Officials are still determining the charges against the teens. They tell us no one was hurt in the crash.
Students at Franklin High School narrowly dodged several stolen SUVs being driven recklessly on campus around dismissal time. Police say students and staff, they had to jump out of the way multiple times, and fortunately no one was injured here. We're told a 16-year-old boy was arrested, and this isn't the first time Rochester schools have had this happen. Police say it simply needs to stop.
It's terrible. It's not a game. The offenders that are doing this need to be held accountable, and it needs to stop. I mean, the vast majority of students that go to Franklin are just trying to learn and trying to have a effective learning environment. This is obviously extremely disruptive. I mean, imagine living your life every single day wondering if you're going to get run over by a car.
A lot happening tonight. We begin with that dangerous encounter for Rochester police. An officer struck by a stolen car. Good afternoon. I'm Karen Edwards. Matt will join us at 6. What followed was a citywide police chase that started on South Goodman Street and ended on the west side near Emerson and Dewey. The suspects ranging in age from 12 to 17. 13 Wham's Jackie Napier has an update on how the officer is doing and the investigation. Jackie.
Good evening, Karen. That officer has been released from the hospital, fortunately, after suffering non-life-threatening injuries to his upper body, according to police. Investigators say the door of the stolen Kia struck the officer on South Goodman Street as the 5 boys and girls tried to flee. Rochester police say an officer responded to South Goodman Street just before 5 o'clock Monday morning for the report of kids looking into cars, possibly trying to steal them.
He interrupted them at a vehicle, and at which point they jumped into the Kia. And instead of fleeing the scene, it appears they drove directly at the officer and struck the officer with the vehicle.
Captain Greg Bello says the stolen Kia eventually crashed in the area of Dewey Avenue and Emerson Street. There, he says, 3 people were taken into custody and 2 others fled to a house on Locust Street.
After about an hour or so of us having that house surrounded, working with the homeowner, we were able to locate 2 additional juveniles in the basement of that house.
Rochester Mayor Malik Evans says the city needs to consider strategies to make sure young people are not on the streets after hours.
One of the things that I wish I could do is institute a curfew. And if I could, I would.
Evans says the Court of Appeals ruled that the city could not institute a curfew. Now he says he's looking to engage parents and use strategies already in place to make sure young people are not out after hours.
Sometimes parents do the best they can, and sometimes you still have wayward children. So I think that the first step is to see how you can work with the parent. And then if they don't, there are mechanisms already. There are already mechanisms within the Child Protective Services.
All 5 suspects have been charged with unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, a misdemeanor. The 2 16-year-old suspects have been charged with attempted grand larceny, criminal possession of stolen property, and reckless endangerment, respectively. Last we heard from Rochester police, 3 of the 5 minors had been issued an appearance ticket in family court. Karen.